Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the third installment of a three-part series called A Life in Alignment. This event is focused on a life in service. For those of you who are new, my name is Rahul. I'm with Evolution One, the foundation that transmits this work out to the world and supports all those who are engaged in it. I'm here today to guide you into and out of the session. We feel so grateful to be a part of a global community dedicated to the evolution of consciousness. In this all-new transmission, we will explore the theme of a life in service. The inspiration for this offering is to support an ever-growing number of you who are recognizing the world's challenges and are looking for new ways to develop yourselves to meet those challenges, to cultivate resilience and become empowered, conscious creators of your own reality. We know there are thousands, perhaps millions of you around the world waking up with the desire to connect with others who are also waking up. Those of you who are eager to access more of yourselves, to know all of yourselves, and to create inner alignment within yourself. For those of you who desire to be change agents for humanity and for Earth. Our mission is to help you with that. We continue to make these experiences free and seek to make them widely available as possible, to broadcast this frequency for all who feel called to it. We do have some newcomers today, so I'd like to share a little bit to give you some context for the work. Over the last 20 years, Asil has studied various spiritual traditions. About a decade ago, he had a strong experience that opened a connection that we now refer to today as the channel. This is a powerful connection of both energy and wisdom, which Asil embodies and transmits through a trance channel. Through this connection, energy passes through him and reaches those who tune into the transmission, either live or recorded. This energy contains unique frequencies that have the capacity to influence not only your physical, mental, and emotional well-being, but also more subtle aspects of your own energy field. This energy allows you to align, go deeper in your meditation, connect deeper with your own consciousness, and receive guidance to support your journey into consciousness evolution. Asil's process of going into trance includes spontaneous hand and body movements and rapid breathing. It will not seem normal, but we assure you everything is okay. His daily human consciousness is still available to him while channeling, and he can stop channeling at any time. While this is happening, you can use the time to find inner silence and stillness, and depending on your level of meditation practice, establish a sense of presence and inner alignment. The channel will bring in guides who specifically present themselves with names that humanity has given them. You might recognize some of these names as angels or archangels, but the guides have never referred to themselves as such. Once this energy builds, an energetic field is established, then the transmission of words and energy will begin. People often report powerful experiences during video recordings. So it's really simple. During the time, sit comfortably or lie down and focus on being in an open meditative state. Just by being receptive, you have included yourself in this field. During the session, you can invite your higher self in. You can set an intention to release old wounds, thoughts, emotions, or anything that no longer serves you. People do share that things come up despite the absence of an intention. So if that approach feels better for you, just go with it. During the session, we recommend that you listen in a space where you'll not be interrupted and turn off your device notifications. We also recommend that you stay tuned in through the entire session, but if you are deep in a meditative state, it's okay if you aren't able to follow every word. The benefit of staying with us is what's most important, and the words can be listened to or read again later. We'll be emailing you a transcript of what comes through here today. When the session is over, we'll sit together in silence for a few moments before I guide everyone back. For now, get comfortable and enjoy your journey, and see you back here upon your return.
Well, hello. Hi, Ra. Thank you for that intro.
Hi, Asil.
How are you doing?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. Enjoying this Saturday.
For everyone who is not familiar with Ra is a good friend and a member of our organization, and he's agreed to support us today to do the Q&A part of our event, in which we will answer some questions that are coming in from the audience, both the English channels as well as the Spanish channels. And after that Q&A, we will go into transmission with the Elohim. So I'm excited for that because this topic is a super powerful and potent one, right? Living a life in service could be potentially the ultimate goal of life if one actually aspires to be living that kind of a life. But I believe that once we get to deeper and deeper and deeper alignments in the self-realization journey, there is a natural sense of wanting to be in service to humanity and to life itself. It's just a naturally unfolding thing from within. Hence, us choosing this topic, living a life in service. And what does that mean? And how do we get there? And yeah, super excited for our Spanish speaking community to be part of this as well. So, hello, everyone. And thank you, Brenda, for doing our translation on the other side. So, Ra, I have heard you have been receiving questions from our audience, and maybe you are able to share some of those questions.
I am looking for the questions.
Maybe before we do that, maybe you can share with the audience a little bit about what living a life in service means to you and how that's been unfolding in your life as you were going deeper into this
Yeah.
journey of transformation and your journey of awakening.
Yeah. Like for me, living a life in service is, we receive so many gifts from our spiritual practice. And in my deepest meditations, I was literally told to share what I've learned.
Mm-hmm.
I asked what my highest calling was on the planet, and the voice that came through said to facilitate
Mm-hmm.
and to bring people through this. I mean, when I first went through the foundations program, I was amazed how many, like without even trying, like people were coming to me for support after doing the alignment work required.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's about overcoming some of your own your own internal challenges, and getting beyond yourself and getting into supporting others with what they're going through.
Yeah, and I think there are, in the spiritual directions in the spiritual world and the spiritual communities, sometimes we may have a misconception of the word service, because it may look like, oh, if means like if you follow the spiritual path, you'll become a healer of some sort, right? And that's going to be like the culmination for all spiritual work is going to be becoming a healer. And if you don't want to do that, then maybe the spiritual journey is not for you.
Asil, how did you first step into your service with this work? Like, how did you
Hmm.
find yourself on this path?
Yeah, I would say I've always desired to be in service in some form or shape. So I've learned like different healing modalities that would benefit me, and then I could share those with others. And so I was kind of like doing different healing modalities and learning about, the mind and how the emotional heart operates and how the energetic body operates and how we can heal and grow. And then me, if I learn what that process was like and I could share it with others, that could then also heal and grow.
Mm.
But every time I went through this process of learning how to heal and how to provide a form of alignment to another person, I would always feel like, oh, this is not it. Like, I'm not at the right place. Like, I'm doing something beautiful that is clearly a service to someone, but something is not correct. Something is not right. And so I kind of dropped that process of having to and wanting to and needing to heal others, right? I had to let go of that completely.
Mm.
So I returned that focus entirely onto me. I said, okay, the focus is I want to become a better human being with every step that I walk. And what can I do to become that better human being? So I've done anything that I can get my hands on, many different lineages, many different directions, many experiments. And I realized that naturally, by me walking this path, I was already in service. So that was already service to humanity. I didn't understand that at that time. So what I mean by that is when we are choosing to walk a path of growth and evolution, of internal personal healing, then we are naturally in service to ourselves, to our loved ones, and to humanity. So that is already an incredibly high form of service. Would you agree, Rob?
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of times that's kind of like lost in translation. It's like seen like maybe, oh, it's a selfish thing. You're just doing it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But the ripple effects are still significant, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. We have a few questions coming in, and I'd like to invite people listening to type in their questions. But we have a few really great questions already coming in. First one is, what challenges have you come across in your own personal journey while living a life of service?
That's a great question. I think one of the most important things when we are becoming a vessel of the divine, a vessel of service, is to understand the limitations with which this vessel operates. And we have limitations because we're operating a limited vessel in a seemingly limited material reality. So we run out of energy, we run out of willpower, we run out of steam, we run out of capacity. So there is many things that we can quote unquote run out of, at least temporarily.
Mm.
Very often in my life, I've been always pushing through those perceived limitations, right? I've pushed myself through them to just be in service a little bit more, a little bit longer. And I found myself burning out often and
Mm.
then resenting the service itself, finding myself in an emotional, vulnerable place of, oh, how did I get here? How did I sell myself short in the process of service, right? So it's very important, and I've been learning this over many, many years. I'm still refining this. Where do I set a boundary for my well-being so I can be perfectly aligned, so I can continue my service in the best possible way? And I think That has been the biggest. The other thing that I want to share, which I think is also important, is what we think and what our mind potentially would want to do is not always the best possible aligned delivery of service. What I mean by that is, I've been in circumstances where I was asked to provide and support the healing process of a person or of a child. And the guide said, no, this person has to go through this process themselves. And we are not the ones, or you are not the one to deliver this right now. And I didn't understand. It didn't make sense to me. But somehow there was a greater intelligence operating that was beyond my human understanding, right? And I had to accept that. That's the other thing of service. When we are operating for the divine, something much greater is in process than our own ego, our own minds. Anyhow, this is a rich topic. I could talk about this for hours.
Well, we got a really great question from Monica Coronado from the Spanish channel. She says, living in love and service towards others as a therapist, on occasions I have needed help. I have asked for it, but it did not materialize. They cancel me or they do not respond to my call. Any comments? Has it happened to you?
Depends on who is the they that she's speaking about.
I think she's talking about her clients as a therapist.
So the clients will cancel her.
Or let me see. Or it seems like the people she's needing help. Like she's a therapist, she's helping clients, and then the people she's reaching out to help for, they're not so supporting her.
I would say it could also be like celestial guidance or celestial help. So when we are in a moment where the service isn't flowing because we are not in a place of alignment, I would just stop everything that I'm doing. I think that's the number one thing. Stop everything you're doing. Come to a zero moment of not delivering, no obligations, no commitments, just focus on yourself, everything that's happening to you. And maybe what is happening to you is a special moment for you where you need to be evolving as a service provider. And when you stop everything that you're doing and you come to that state of, okay, clearly I'm going to need support. And what kind of support do I need? And then you feel into what kind of support is the support that you currently can receive, can get support from. And then you follow all of it until you get what you need. And you don't take a no for a no. You actually really go for it, and you go as deep as you can to take care of yourself. And then you will know at some point that you are feeling realigned and you feel ready to return into service. That's what I would do personally.
That leads us to another great question from Veronica Johnson. She says, can our alignment have an effect on the vibrancy and the state of our planet Earth?
Absolutely. I think that we as human beings have a great influence on the earth itself and all living beings on earth. That includes on all of humanity. So if we find greater alignment within ourselves and humanity, the people around us find greater alignment, the guides say that we naturally make better decisions. We act in a different way, more coherent, more aligned, more collaborative. And when we do that, who benefits? all of humanity, all of life, the earth, everyone benefits. So that changes the environment and the reality that we create. So alignment delivers definite changes for everyone.
Cool. We got another great question from Kim Gorin. She says, can I be of service by doing small things for others without necessarily opening a business, like Reiki, sending heart energy, along with the usual helping out?
I think that's great. And that's one of the points that I wanted to make with regards to service. I think a lot of times people think that service means you have to become a healer business, right? You have to give up your corporate job, or you have to give up, taking care of your kids. But truly, when we are in alignment and we choose to be in service, we can be in service in so many different ways. And even small things can make a huge difference. Like, I personally think a mother raising kids is divine service. A father raising kids is divine service. A child taking care of their elderly parents is divine service. There's many forms of divine service, and there is many shapes. And every form of service is a generous act of love, a generous act of the expression of this creation, like an extension of the love of creation. And therefore, even small forms, small acts of kindness are divine service as well.
That's beautiful. Got another good question from Lorena. She says, how do the guides say we can differentiate between healthy planning versus attachments to the future?
So that's a really good question, because very often they say, stay more in the present moment. In the present moment, this is where your power is. If you lean too much into the future, then you're kind of living in the future and you're narrowing the potential field of possibilities. Now, it's very difficult in this human existence and in society not have any plans, right? It's like, and you say, oh, tomorrow is not here yet, so we'll see what happens. That's going to be quite challenging for you to live in interaction and interdependency with other humans. In any societal construct, that's going to be very, very challenging. So in some ways, we have to live with a degree of commitments and plans. Here is where it gets interesting. How strong is our attachment to the plan and to things unfolding exactly the way we want them to unfold? And how do we react if it doesn't? If we have an intuitive call that we should be doing something else than what we had originally planned, will we listen to the intuition, or will we force ourselves to follow an obligation? These are the questions we have to ask ourselves. And from what I understand, it is really about attachment. It's about both making plans and at the same time being detached to the exact outcome, right? So this is how I would see it. This is how I would respond to it, because I still make plans and I still try to be very present in the step by step of the evolution of the days and the unfolding of the weeks and the months and the plans that we have made. And not everything goes as planned.
It's the journey, right? So we got a question from Facebook. Deepa says, I have a hard time letting go. how would you describe your own process of where you had to let go of some things that you were holding on to, as well as ego was holding on to, and what made the process easier or viable?
It depends on what it is that we're holding on to. As human beings, we hold on to a lot of things. We hold on to a lot of things of the past. We hold on to a lot of things of the present. We hold on to a lot of things of the future, how things are meant to be and how things are supposed to be, the shoulds and the woulds and the coulds, right? There's a lot of holding on to. And so I'll just give an example. Like, it was really an important, interesting example. When I was working with the guides, as they were working on me and preparing me to become a vessel, I had come to a crossroads with them. And they said, they showed me a potential future of me being in service. And they said, in order for that future to unfold, I have to let go of the attachment of ever being a father. And I thought, wow, that's a really big ask, because I expected at some point to be a father and for my parents to be grandparents and maybe have a partner and so on and so forth. And so I felt into it, and it made me really sad that this was something I had to give up. So I was wondering, how can I let go of something that is so intrinsically ingrained in being a biological being, right? It's the procreation, right? You're extending yourself into the next generation. And it took me almost 3 months to let go of my attachment on how to be okay with letting go of being a father. Now, I realized later, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to be a father. It just means I'm no longer attached to it. You see? So being a father became a possibility within the many possibilities, but it didn't become one possibility in one direction. Right? So that's what the guides were trying to get me to understand. So letting go of something doesn't mean it won't ever happen. It just means you're no longer attached to it happening, and you're no longer devastated if it doesn't happen.
That's beautiful. It's so hard to let go of these attachments sometimes.
Yeah. Do you have any that you remember?
I'm in the Foundations program now.
Yeah.
And I had a similar experience. I through Foundations, that I have very vivid dreams every night, and I had a dream where I found my daughter dead in a field. But it
Wow,
wasn't.
that's intense.
It took me a long time through the dream to realize that I found her as a child in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't her now. Like, now she's like a little preteen, but it was the hardest thing. It was the hardest thing to process her being gone.
Mm-hmm.
So I really
So you're
feel.
trying to process this in the dream.
Yeah, I woke up like just my heart pounding, just
Mm-hmm.
and then I was just so happy she was alive. You know what I mean? Like, it was
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
it was the weirdest.
So do you think that the process was kind of like guiding you through your attachment to her, or your
Yeah, it
connection to
was
her?
it was moving me through. So I'm divorced, and
Mm-hmm.
I went from seeing my kids every day to not every day. And when that happened, something died in me, and I never I never really fully processed it. So, the foundations process and the guides coming into my dreams and moving everything around it really got me to sit with that, and also just rest in the gratitude that even though I don't see them every day, they're still alive. So
That's beautiful.
it was a
Yeah.
wild one.
I think our human attachments to our loved ones, they're probably the most powerful attachments aside the attachment of our own life, I guess, right? And sometimes people are more attached to the life of our loved ones than their own life, right? That's kind
Yeah.
of the way it is. But it's, the spiritual practice is a really, really powerful teacher in understanding how attachments are not necessarily a bad thing. It's just we need to understand how they operate. And if we can do attachments in a conscious way, and we're able to detach in a conscious way, that gives us our power back. And that's the way I see attachments. It's a mechanism of the ego construct. We just have to understand it properly.
It's a beautiful exploration. All right, so we got another great question from Anna Olivia Pinto. She says, as I'm a beginner in these energies, do you think I have the possibility to achieve this alignment like the others?
100%.
Yeah.
Everyone has the possibility of finding deeper and stronger alignment within themselves. And it's a continuum. So even though it may start subtle in the beginning, there will be stronger and more and deeper alignments within yourself. And you may look a year or 2 years later, you may look back and you may be like, wow, I have changed so much. We have people that have been in our organization or in the courses for many years, and they find themselves massively transformed and massively realigned. But sometimes it takes a bit of effort, it takes a bit of surrender, it takes a bit of devoted practice and dedicated practice.
Yeah, if I can share, so when I came to this program, I thought I was like, a Jedi. I thought I was like already spiritually advanced as you can get. And then I went through the foundations the first time, and I was just like, having the craziest dreams and crying stuff out. I was blown away how powerful this energy is. I mean, that's why I'm here now, because I believe in it so strongly. But yeah, absolutely. I think anyone could come in at any level and get a lot out of this.
Beautiful.
So, got another really good question. This one's from Alfredo. He says, at some point in your experience, have you had a feeling of stagnation that makes you look for other ways to realign yourself?
Yes. And so I think we can find a path of consistent growth in any spiritual direction we choose to. Like we can really go down the rabbit hole with anything, right? And sometimes I found myself, oh, I need a break from what I'm doing. I need to do something different. I need a different angle right now. And I've done that. Like I've done that with physical exercise. I've done that with nature being a different angle to my spiritual practice. I've done that with other lineages, other spiritual directions, just to experience a different angle. And even just experiencing a different angle made me understand a little bit more of where I'm stuck and why I'm stuck. So stagnancy is not uncommon in the spiritual journey. It happens. Some people feel they have been stagnant or had reached a plateau for years. So the question is, what am I resisting? Where am I holding back? And what do I need to go to my own next level? And when I go into a really, really silent place without any distractions, I can hear that voice telling me exactly what I need to overcome that stagnancy. Great question. Thank you.
Cool. We got another good question from Marissa. She says, "How do we stay grounded when the world tries to throw us off center?"
Oh, the world's not trying to do anything. It's like there is no malevolent perspective of the world. Okay, the world is just is. It's just is this continuously churning of creation and co-creation, right? And we coexist in this co-creation. And because it is a mix of chaos and order, consistently changing, we are challenged by what we're experiencing and what we are being faced with. And this challenge might be intense and it may shake up our internal alignment, it may shake up our life. And in every one of those shakeups is a powerful learning, is a powerful opportunity to grow. No matter how intense it is, no matter how dramatic it is. And if we allow ourselves to see it as an opportunity for growth, then we can actually grow, we can actually evolve. Now, practices to have a strong grounding, practices to have a strong connection to above, and allowing this connection to move and bring an alignment within ourselves, that will serve you. When you go into the world and there is all these storms and the chaos and everything is happening, churning around you, you are much less likely to fall out of alignment the stronger your alignment has already become. So I recommend to join us in some of these programs that we do and courses, and you'll see that alignment is a continuous journey that has tremendous benefits when we're living a human life.
Beautiful. So I got this question made me giggle. It's from Nick Adele. He says, "Who can hear the voice in my head other than myself? I try my best to think loving and kind thoughts, but I'm not at a place where I don't also think negatively towards myself and others."
Where he does not, or
Well,
he's not in a place where he doesn't. Okay,
yeah.
it's a double negative. Okay, so yeah, good question. Who can hear your thoughts? Well, I don't know if I can answer. I don't know for sure who can hear your thoughts. I can only know that my thoughts I definitely heard and seen by the guides because I have this connection with them in which everything is transparent, like I'm completely naked in front of them. And I used to have that too. I used to have challenging thoughts and emotions that I couldn't reconcile within myself. I would think, well, how is this possible? I've done so much work on myself and I've done so much healing and growth, and I still have some of these negative thoughts towards myself or others. Or where is that voice? Where is that negativity coming from? And when I dove deeper into my process, I started to see there are parts of me, of the past, that are not completely resolved. Parts of me are not completely resolved. So I am still holding wounds of the past, and these wounds have shaped certain thought patterns and mental constructs and beliefs. So I have specific conditionings in my consciousness that shape my thoughts, my emotions, and my reality. The work, my friend, is to create safe spaces for yourself where you can actually look at these aspects of your being with as much neutrality and love and compassion you can bring into the moment. And some of our transmissions have been very, very helpful to be able to face these aspects of ourselves that are destructive, that are on the spectrum of being negative. And there is ways to transform that, not just cutting it away, because that's not the way it works. It's really understanding, and through understanding and integration, transforming.
We got another question here that kind of touches on what we were talking about earlier with fatherhood, but I think it's a beautiful question. Monica asks, many of us dedicated to a life in service with love are either single or have ended relationships for many years, as if it were a requirement to commit 100% to this work. What do you think?
What I see and what I've been witnessing in this generation and more recently is, because things are accelerating and our personal and spiritual development is accelerating, also the relationships and the context of our relationships with other humans is accelerating. So if we have something to experience and something to learn with another human being, most likely that will complete a cycle much faster than it used to be. So a relationship might feel right in the moment and maybe complete in a short period of time, not the way we used to have these perceived and required relationships that would last years or a lifetime. So things change much quicker than they used to. We change much quicker than we used to. And while it's not necessarily a requirement for service, I would say it's a natural byproduct of evolution, of consciousness evolution. Relationships change. Some relationships get stronger and deeper because both individuals are evolving together, right? Some relationships shift because one person is evolving faster and is on a different track than the other person. Doesn't mean that the other person is not evolving, but maybe they have another lesson to learn and complete, and you may have to continue on. So that's the way I see it. Relationships are a very complex experience in the human form, and they can take a lot of energy and a lot of time. And the spiritual journey itself can be incredibly demanding and can actually take in itself a lot of energy and a lot of time. And anyone that manages both a strong and steep spiritual journey plus having quality relationships on top of that is a true saint. Because it's really, really challenging. And it's a blessing we can have people around us that understand that we are going through an evolutionary process and that we need time and space from time to time.
Okay, we have our last question before our
Last
intermission.
question.
Really good one from Predag. He says, you are in constant communication with the guides, with the channel. Is this communication different than communicating with your higher self, or is your higher self a part of the Elohim?
Good question. So, in the beginning, it was a lot more differentiated and a separate voice. And when I would talk to the guides, it was distinct. It felt like a voice outside of me. It did not feel like a voice within me. Over time, when I'm not in an embodied channeled state, it feels like my higher self is somehow connected to the voices of the guides. So, what I'm getting is a bit of a combined voice. And I can get into these, what I call the half channeled states when I'm just talking and I'm letting this combined voice speak through me, the voice of my higher self, the voice of my soul combined with the voice of a higher intelligence beyond me. And then when I go into an embodied state, I know definitively that this is the voice of the Elohim as they announce themselves and so on. So I can switch back and forth in some ways. And right now, I would say it's more like this combined voice, but also the operations of my mind and the evaluations of my ego construct are speaking as well.
Beautiful. Thank you, Asil. So I think it's time for our 10-minute intermission.
That's great. Well, thank you all for your beautiful questions. I hope the answers were somewhat helpful and will serve you in your path, in your journey of living a life in service. So, yeah, let's go for a 10-minute break. And what time are we coming back? 5 after the hour?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, fantastic. I'll see you soon for the transmission. If I turn on my mic, you can hear me much better. All right, let's start over. Welcome back to our special event, A Life in Alignment, the third part of a three-part series that we have specifically created for our Spanish-speaking community, with an option to watch it in English as well. Today's session was about, and is still about, living a life in service. And we had some beautiful questions, and you heard some of my perspectives and reflections on what it means to be in service and how to operate this human life while we're going through a powerful and potentially intense spiritual development or evolutionary process. We will now go into a transmission. And in these transmissions, if anyone is watching the first time, I go into a state of a deep meditation. Some people call this a trance state. And eventually, in that state, I connect with these angelic guides, the Elohim specifically, as a higher consciousness. And through this connection, they speak and they transmit a certain energy. They have beautiful wisdom to share. And very often, this wisdom is timeless. And it's of such a non-dual perspective that it's truly relevant for anybody. And when you are called in this transmission to just lie down or to just go into a meditation yourself to receive this fully, you can do that. You don't have to listen to every word, trying to understand what they're saying. We will have a transcript and a replay. You can always read the transcript later. What's right now really good for you is to really receive the energy. And even if the words arrive in your subconscious, they will have an impact on you. So, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for making this possible and receiving this in the best possible way. We will now get started. And if you want, you can close your eyes just like I did. And take a couple of deep breaths to center yourself and bring yourself into a relaxed state of your mind, of your heart, and of your body. And as we're all entering into a collective and communal meditative state, an energetic field is created in which we are all present. In which we all receive the benefits of coming together. Greetings. We are Elohim. Witnessing yourself as a human being is the first recognition that you are you and others are others. The world is seemingly separate from you. A first initial experience of separation, of individuality, of a unique character, personality, and ego construct. So unique that the world that you observe, the perspectives that you hold, and the emotions you feel are uniquely attuned to who you are. No one can truly understand what it means to be you. People can relate to your experience as they may have experienced similar emotions, thoughts, and perspectives. You may find common ground in your understanding and perspective of life. Yet, you are unique. Every thought of yours, every emotion of yours, every perspective of yours, and every creation of yours, unique. This uniqueness is established by design, the human collective consciousness is expressing itself in your unique expression. You are representing the collective as an individual. And in this individualized expression, you may feel separate, disconnected. Yet you are always human, of the human collective. You are always a conscious being experiencing this physical form in the ecosystem of this earth. Therefore, you are deeply intrinsically, interdependently connected to all life, both in material form and in non material form. This journey of the illusion of separation is a temporary journey. And within this lifetime, you will recognize the deep interconnected nature of all things. You will recognize how your consciousness is truly part of the collective, how you are truly one with all. And in this journey of recognizing the oneness and unity that you hold within yourself, while at the same time being a unique expression yourself, you will start to understand that the paradox of separation and unification coexists within you as a singular expression of the divine. Your consciousness holds both dualistic reality and non dualistic reality, separation and unification. The one as an individual, the one as a collective. This is the premise for the first step of understanding that you and your expression, your life that you live, is interconnected to all lives that are lived. Your expressions and your creations are interconnected to the collective. All your learnings, all your wounds, all your expressions, your realizations are part of the collective's realization and learning. Therefore, the life that you live in itself is a divine service to creation, a divine service to the human collective. You will be faced with many opportunities to learn and to realize. You may or may not choose to follow these opportunities. You may or may not choose to learn and close complete specific cycles in this lifetime. You may or may not choose to follow a path of conscious evolution. Even in that circumstance, you are the collective expressing itself in a unique form, and your life is in service to the collective. Some of you will receive this inner calling, a calling of the soul, a call for awakening, a call for greater understanding, for a greater perspective. And you may find ways to listen to this call, seeking to understand what it wants and where this voice is leading you. Who are you and who are you becoming? Who were you before this life and before you entered into this human form? Simple, though significant questions arise within your consciousness. Questions that can no longer be suppressed. And as you seek the answers, you will discover many other realizations about life and yourself first. Each of these realizations will serve your life. Each of these realizations will expand your consciousness, the person that you are and the person that you are becoming. Each of these realizations will shift the way you live life, your relationships, your creations, your thoughts, and your emotions. Every aspect of your being is impacted by these realizations. The collective humanity as a collective consciousness is impacted by your journey of realizations. And as many individuals are awakening, as many individuals are consciously choosing to come to realizations, to evolve in a conscious way, this process of collective evolution and collective realization is accelerating. Humanity is growing at a pace that it has not grown before due to the conscious choices that you make to follow this path of growth and evolution. Merely you listening to the intrinsic desire to become a greater version of yourself, to understand the full potential that you hold within yourself. This is your service to yourself. This is your service to humanity. Every aspect of your life, your relationships, your obligations as a parent, as a brother, as a sister, as a child, your obligations to the creations that you have committed to, the organizations, the structures, the creations of your being for other humans and for other life on this earth. All aspects of your life are fueled by this journey of evolution. As your thoughts, your emotions, and your presence changes, your expression changes as well. The way you live life, the way you expand into relationships, the way you express yourself, the way your mental construct provides perspectives, evaluations, and thoughts. Everything changes. Everything is expanded with a greater sense of potential, possibility, and trust. You perceive the world and you receive the world in all its facets, all complexities, all emotions, all expressions of the divine in human form are welcome. You see and you receive with an open heart, with an open mind, as you have learned to witness the divine in all, the divine in everyone, the divine in everything. No matter how you choose to consciously channel and transmit the energy that moves through you, your presence and the expression of the divine, be it service, spoken, service expressed through emotion, through action, through support of other humans, through support of other beings, in physical or in non-material form. The divine expression resulting from the state that you achieve. The highest potential, the highest frequency you can hold becomes the greatest service of the moment, your greatest expression as a vessel of the divine. And you can choose to refine this vessel that you are, to fine tune, to purify, to continuously evolve, consciously evolve this vessel that you are. Embrace this journey. Embrace this path and discover the service that you bring into this life, into this human form, with a new perspective. Your divine service and divine expression, your divine love and divine creation, consistently evolving, generously shared. As the love of creation, the creative power of this existence moves through you and turns into your creations, into your expressions. You are that flavor. You are the one that delivers a unique form of this love of creation into the human experience, into the collective field generated and created on this earth. This is your life in service. Thank you for listening to our words. We will now commence with the adjustments. Thank you for receiving this transmission. Our work is complete. As we slowly come back, just witness yourself, how you're being held in this loving energy, where all of you is accepted, all of you is loved, all of you is seen. And in this state of being, you are perfect as you are. And for those of you that want to continue to stay in this state, you're more than welcome to continue the meditation or to be continuing to lie down and to rest. And this energy and this transmission will naturally integrate into your being. The transcript and the transmission you can read later once it's released. And you can also repeat this transmission at a future point. And it will be as effective and maybe effective in different ways. The journey that we are on as individuals and as a human collective requires our conscious attention. It requires us to choose. Who do we want to become as an individual and as a human race? How do we want to evolve? How do we want to heal? How do we want to grow? This is one of the many ways. I hope you enjoyed this session today. And I hope the transmission will bring many good unfoldings into your life and hopefully a new alignment from which you can operate and explore life in a different way. Blessings to all of you. Much love wherever you are. And thank you for tuning in. If you'd like to understand more of what we do and how this work can help you in your life, you can find on our website all the information you need. Evolution.one. Blessings to all of you. Thank you to our Spanish-speaking community and to everyone that has tuned in from our English-speaking communities. And thank you, Brenda and the LATAM team for making this possible. Have a good night. Have a good day wherever you are.
Thank you from everyone at Evolution One for joining in this transmission. If this work speaks to you and you'd like to dive deeper, consider enrolling in our Discovery series. It's an 8-part training course that helps you understand all the core concepts that we're working through in Evolution 1 and helps get you more connected into this work. Also, in Latin America, you can follow us on social media on YouTube at Somos Evolution 1 and on Instagram, Somos Evolution 1. And in the US, you can follow us on YouTube at Evolution 1 Official and on Instagram, we are Evolution 1. Thank you so much for taking part in this transmission. And thank you for this time we've gotten to share together.